Hey, this is Heidi Dawson. If you love all things health and wellness and style of any kind, hang out here with me each week. I'm obsessed with never-ending improvement, and it's all in an effort to help each one of us live a wildly successful lifestyle. Subscribe today so you don't miss a thing. Hi guys, welcome to episode 557 of the Wildly Successful Lifestyle Podcast. It is so good to be with you. I'm really happy that you're here. And if you're new, don't forget to click on the three little dots at the top right and follow the show or subscribe or all the things. And also give me a 5-star review if you can. Every little bit helps me reach more people, which in turn helps us all spread good energy and good thoughts further into the world. We're making the world a better place, one episode at a time, twice a week. And I thank you so much for being a part of it every single week. I love you guys for that. So I have a question for you. Have you ever wanted to do something and then change your mind because it seems silly or maybe a little childish for an adult to be doing that? I remember my mom once telling me life isn't supposed to be fun all the time. I mean, she meant well, but obviously that had an impact on me because I've a lot of times thought about her saying that. But I don't think she came up with that on her own. I think society sort of brainwashes us into the idea that fun should be limited to the weekend or to the kids. Well, I personally take offense to that because I believe life is supposed to be fun. And I also believe that we forget that we have the power to make life more fun, to add more fun things, especially as adults. Recently, where I live, it has been raining so much. When it's not raining, it seems like it's just dreary and overcast. Now, it is that time of the year. And don't get me wrong, I love a good rainy, stormy day. Absolutely love it. But 5 to 7 rainy, cloudy days in a row, and it can get a little depressing if you're not careful. So this last week we had that kind of weather, and finally after several days of rain and clouds, my husband Eric had it with the lack of sunshine, and he knew that I had too. And he said, you know what? I know that it's kind of hot outside, warm actually, but what do you say we turn the air conditioning way up and turn the fireplace on and light candles and we read in the living room? He said, because fire lifts your mood just sort of like sunshine does. He learned that in survival training. They started a fire and that was called survival TV and survival training, which I thought was really cool. Anyway, that's what we did. And it was so exactly what we both needed. He even brought our little rechargeable lamps in and set them around. It felt so cozy and fun because, well, who lights a fire in the middle of a warm, muggy day? Apparently, we do. And it was perfect. He definitely made lemonade out of lemons. Reason 315 why I love my husband. But life truly is exactly what you make of it. There's always a way to make things better, even if it's just changing the way you look at things by doing something a little out of the ordinary. I read this the other day that you can't change other people, but you can change the way you respond. You can change the way you spend your energy. You can change the things you give power to. There were several other things they listed that you can actually change yourself, but those are the ones that really stood out. So often we feel like someone or something in our life is making it difficult for us to be happy, like the rain, when it isn't really anyone else's job to make us happy. We are in charge of the happiness department in our own life. My happiness or lack of it depends on one thing, and that's me and what I'm focusing on. It really does boil down to that. We're the only ones that can change the trajectory of our own day. Even if you have to do something silly to do it, like starting a fire in the middle of summer just because it brightens your day. When we were kids, we would find silly ways of entertaining ourselves all the time. But as adults, we've been sort of trained that we have to be a certain way, do things a certain way. Don't be silly. Life isn't all about having fun. But I believe life is supposed to be fun. I mean, we're supposed to be having fun, even if we're adults. And yeah, even if it's Tuesday, and especially if it's raining. When we had all those rainy days in a row, my little Cavaliers, Sonny and Charlie, were so rowdy one day. I mean, they were cooped up too. And they were looking at me like, Mom, are we ever going to go for another walk? And I looked at them and I said, it is raining. We can't go for a walk. Yes, I talk to my dogs like they're kids, but unfortunately, and also obviously, all they heard was the word walk, which they know very well. So now they're definitely thinking that we're going. So they're getting super rowdy. In my mind, I was like, okay, well, I've done it now, and people are going to think I'm crazy for walking them in the rain. And then I realized, hold up. I mean, it's not really storming out right now. If I'm being honest, it's just kind of drizzling. And even if it does rain on us, who cares? Especially who cares what anybody else thinks? So, all right, my mind is made up. We're going. So I put on their collars, I grabbed a raincoat, and off we went. Now, I think it was their favorite walk yet, not just because they had puddles to walk in, but because weirdly, the squirrels didn't get the message that you're supposed to stay in when it's raining either. So they were everywhere, much to Charlie's delight. And honestly, it was one of my favorite walks too. It felt like being a kid again, not caring that we were all soaking wet when we got home. Fortunately, Eric had set out towels and a wet washcloth for what he knew would be their muddy paws. Good to know we have one responsible person in the house, right? I know that makes everyone feel better. But those rainy days got me thinking about how often we let the world or even the weather dictate how we feel. I'm, of course, guilty of it too. But I think we just get into habits of what we should and should not be doing as responsible adults. Society hands us these unwritten rules like act your age or stick to the schedule or don't be silly. Don't light a fire in the middle of a hot day. But why not? I mean, when we were kids, we didn't think twice about doing something just because it felt fun. We would make mud pies all the time. I actually tasted one of my mud pies, and it tasted exactly as you'd imagine, like mud. And then we'd be so muddy and it didn't matter. And we would run all over the backyard even though it was wet outside, or scream our heads off going down a crazy roller coaster. But somewhere along the way, we were taught to tone it down, to fit into this adult mode. But here's the truth. Life is supposed to be fun, even on a random Tuesday. We have these great friends who recently retired, and they went to Disney with their grandkids, and literally we were listening to them planning their trip, and they were having to literally decide who had to skip the scariest rides because their youngest grandkid wasn't tall enough to go on the ride. I thought that was so much fun. I also have an aunt who's 82, and she still has these domino parties. Every weekend she will invite like 8 people over, and they would play dominoes. And she buys all these little gifts and has them wrapped and put to the side in this corner on the table. And anytime you win a hand, you get to pick a gift. And at the end, everyone opens their gifts, and the person who won the whole game can trade their gift for whichever gift they want, which I think is kind of fun. So not only is she bringing joy to her own life and happiness, but she's bringing a lot of joy and happiness to other people as well. She is so much fun. Even though she struggles to get around, she still loves to go, go, go. She actually keeps my parents moving and my big sister moving because they all live in the same town. I love that spirit. And I hope she never loses it. And it actually inspires me so much to see grown-ups who don't forget that life is really about having fun and enjoying each moment. Sure, we have responsibilities, but that doesn't mean we can't figure out how to have a little fun every single day. That's my challenge to you today. How can you incorporate a little more fun into your life? Is there something you wanted to do but stopped because you thought it was silly for a grown-up? My challenge to you actually would be to do it anyway. Figure out how to add a little bit of fun into your everyday life, even if it's a Tuesday and especially if it's been raining for 5 days straight. Let's not leave the fun to the kids. Share this with 3 grown-ups who deserve to have more fun. I love you guys. I'll talk to you in a few days. Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends, because we're just going to keep going bigger and better places together, and I love that about us. Talk to you in a few days.